Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Shirley Talk. Thanks for listening in. Kelly is still out on maternity leave, enjoying time with her family. Before we get started, we talk about our sponsors a little bit. Our first one, actually, her husband's here today, Tara Harris. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, realtors, they're not physically fighting, but,
Not yet.
The amount of properties in Louisville is so low for sale right now that they're loving the ability to get as many listings as possible, because I'm sure listings are pretty limited right now. So, last I heard, there was a little over 600 properties on the market, which there's usually a couple thousand. So anyway, if you're going to buy or sell a home, please get a hold of Miss Tara Harris. She'd love to show your home, list it, or find the home of your dreams. So today we have Mr. Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
What's going on, Mike?
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
You know, we've talked a little bit about your company, Twin Spires. And first of all, where did the name come from, and what is it that you all do?
So we're a remodeling company. We focus on kitchens, bathrooms, and basements. We do more interior work than anything. That usually meant 2 to 3 additions a year. Now in this new real estate market that you were just talking about, it's
insane,
everybody's
isn't it?
doing an addition because there's nowhere else to go. I was joking just a couple weeks ago, I've kind of been in this my whole life, and we would go talk to, I don't know, say 10 people a month, and 7 to 8 of those people would get back with you and say, well, we found a house that we liked and we don't want to remodel, or we're just going to build.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the lots don't exist, and there's not the same amount of houses to look at. So it's just a different ball game all the way around.
Yeah, property in general vacant property is tough to find now, unless you're willing to drive an hour or so away.
Yep.
From the city or from where you work, and people aren't willing to do that. So they're choosing to add on or remodel.
Yep.
So you said you do additions as well?
Oh yeah, we do room additions. We have a couple right now to where basically we're taking a ranch and making them a 2-story, which is becoming really common. A lot of people are wanting to get into the St. Matthews. It's kind of that Cape Cod or the ranches over by Hurstbourne, and they're limited to that 1,800 to 3,000 square feet, and it's usually a family of 6, that would have bought a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house if there was new ones inside Gene Snyder to buy.
But they're not available.
They're not available. There's not even the lots. The builders are less and less available because they can't find the lots either. Before, when you went and talked to a builder, most times the actual individual builder would have 4 or 5 lots of their own for you to choose from.
Yeah, they'd pick them up in neighborhoods just to have them.
Yep, just to have them, and it's just not like that anymore.
So since your wife's a realtor, and y'all, I'm sure you've discussed this, where's the money coming from to do these additions, and where are all the buyers coming from? All of a sudden, everybody's buying property, and I don't know, you may not know the answer to that. I'm just curious, what in the world has caused all of a sudden everybody to get pre-approved, everybody to buy houses? I've heard of people buying houses, pushing the houses over, and rebuilding a house on a lot because it's not what they wanted.
Right. So in that particular concept, that's actually been popular in the Northeast for decades.
Yeah.
Because you had houses that went all the way back to the 1800s. So it just did not make sense to revive them. I actually went through the National Home Builders Association. I was in New Jersey, and we were touring neighborhoods, and you would literally, be 1,200 square foot house that looked, 100, 150 years old. Nothing wrong with it. Right beside a brand new 6,000-7,000 square foot house that they had come and knocked down 2 houses and built it there, and you could see those just kind of slowly taking over that neighborhood.
That's incredible. You go in and buy, and today you're not getting a deal on properties.
No.
You're paying plus or more than what the asking price is because people are standing in line for houses. It's the most incredible thing. So people are paying full market value for properties and then pushing them over. Oh, yeah. It's incredible. So again, I don't know where all the money's coming from. It's incredible to see.
A lot of it, home values are just up. A lot of its home values are up. And then combined with that, a lot of these people that were doing, I would say 80% of the people that we're doing that addition for, they're already in the house. They've been there for 10, 15 years. They've built up a ton of equity.
Got the equity to do it.
So they had a ton of equity. The the home values have gone up, so it's just kind of it's the perfect storm for somebody that's already been in. And then you have, we have one client right now. He's coming up with roughly 200K of his own money for us to take a house that he's buying at market value to make it what he wants, because it doesn't exist anywhere. I keep saying inside the Gene Snyder, because that just seems to where nobody wants to go past the Gene Snyder anymore.
Right.
It used to be no big deal. I'm going to Mount Washington. That's awesome. I'll make that commute, or, just anywhere out in Oldham County. And now it's like, that's just crazy.
Too far.
Yep,
Yeah, they don't want to be that far.
Yep.
Because like I said, there's really nothing. It's hard to find something, like you said, inside Gene Snyder, but nobody wants to make the drive.
Right.
I mean, if you get outside Gene Snyder or past Oldham County, you're looking at an hour commute every day.
Oh, yeah. And as terrible as 71 is, which, they're working on that to make it better. But yeah, I mean, between traffic and, the other part of that is when everything kind of started tightening up and there was subdivisions outside of the Gene Snyder, they were not low end.
No, not at all.
You're talking $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 houses that are probably around $1 million now. So there was a huge barrier for entry even in those markets also. So it's just kind of the perfect storm, man.
Yeah, that's not entry level housing for most people. And I use this word with you because it's tough to find an honest contractor.
Thank you.
That's going to show up and do what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're in that category. When you say you're going to do something, you show up, you bring the team, and you get the job done.
Yep.
So when you're meeting with people that maybe they're going to do a 700-800 square foot room addition, do you ever have discussions with them and say, look, I'm going to do this for you, just to be honest with you? You got to be careful to overbuild the neighborhood. Or is that even a problem today with the way the property values are going?
It's becoming less and less of an issue. That's for sure. There's a lot of people that are making decisions, like the guy was saying, he's coming out of pocket.
Yeah.
He wants to be here. His exact word, I'm going to be here for 30 years.
So he doesn't really care.
No, this is the house I want. My kids can walk to school. I'm 10 minutes from work. I can jog to work if I want to. You can't put a value on that. Mm-hmm. And he's willing to put that, just be completely over on, I guess your, not debt to income, but the home value versus what, he's going to be maxed out and have a ton of cash in it, but he knows he's going to be there for 30 years. And when the time comes, he's going to be fine. It'll catch up.
Yeah. But I guess, so I'm sure you probably have had those conversations with people, but like you said, it sounds like he's got the money to put in it and he doesn't really care about it.
Yeah. And they're finding creative ways to do that. But no, we try to stay really conscious of that. So, my wife, Tara, is a realtor. Todd, our architect, his wife is a realtor. So that's a huge tool for us because we'll have the conversation with the client. Hey, here's what you want to do. We think that's 70,000 or 170,000 or two, here's what we think that is. And we'll have the conversation with them. Tara's even met with clients before specifically to discuss that, to tell them you're going to be, St. Matthews is a great, example to where, houses that were selling for 170 and 190 just 5 years ago are now 300 to 350.
Yeah.
And then those same houses that have already taken the hit and put in the addition on the back are going for 600,000 or 700,000 right in the middle of St. Matthews. So it's also not as simple as it was before to even calculate that. Mm-hmm. So it's almost, you really got to sit back. I like to compare it to a car. I want an F-150 Raptor.
Yeah.
That's my dream truck.
Sweet truck.
That is not the truck I can afford right now.
Does Joey not have one right now?
No, he does not have one. I almost got one a couple times from him. But when I buy an XL F-150, I know that I'm going to have a better rate of return when that truck has 200,000 miles on it, versus what I paid for it.
It's going to hold a little bit of value.
Right. And the Raptor is, it's a luxury. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is just in this market, you almost have to say, okay, what's more important? Do I want to be happy and enjoy this space and have everything I want and just be at peace with the dollar and cent side of it? Or do I want to be smart about it and do this addition with carpet and no built-ins and entry-level appliance package, or what you kind of got to go, real estate's one of the only places to where people just really get down to the penny of, am I going to get every single dime back?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go purchase 10 other things that week that will have no value when they're done with it or be worth half, in just a couple years. So it's really just having the right conversation. And what do you really want? Are you going to sell in 2 years? No, we don't need to do all this. Okay. You want to be out of here in 2 years? Let's find the best way for you to do that and be ahead. You going to be here in 30? Okay, let's put in the built-in refrigerator. Let's put another 200 square feet. You really got to see what their ultimate goals are before you can make the best recommendation in that situation.
So you said a lot in that statement, and the words
I talk fast.
Well, what I want to point out is, one, you mentioned architect. How many remodelers actually have an architect on staff to go out and do that, or they just go in and start ripping stuff out and try and make it? So one, you have an architect. You got a couple realtors to help with things, and you mentioned built-in stuff. So almost everything you do is custom, I would say.
Yeah.
You're not just going to go buy a bunch of cabinets at Lowe's or Home Depot and have somebody go and screw them to the wall and call it a day.
Yeah. So I guess the easiest way on that is just kind of break down our process. When someone's interested in a remodel, they reach out to us. And the first is just a phone call. So just because there's remodel or construction on someone's business name does not immediately mean that they will be a good fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
We have clients call all the time. We have a deck. We want to cover our porch. We want to screen it in. We want to add a paver patio, and we want to do this. We're not the best fit. I wish I could take every job. That job sounds fun. I know I'd love to design it.
But that separates you from the others, because some people will take that job on and not have any clue how to do it, and they wing it and they screw it up. And you're willing to say that's not what we do. This is what we do.
Right. This is in our lane. Now, with that said, we have 3 projects going on with something like that, but there's also the addition, the kitchen. So I'm already heavily involved in every aspect of it. So we'll stretch out to certain areas in the right situation. Mm-hmm. But if you only need one that isn't 100% in our wheelhouse, I may say we're not the best fit, and I'll try to give you the best fit. Somebody that could be great at kitchen and bath remodels, but has no business doing an addition and back and forth. There's just a lot of play back and forth, and we've created a network to where if we're not a good fit, I have a guy that I 100% trust to send you to.
That's good.
And I think that's really kind of where the industry has grown, is people are like, okay, here's my lane, here's what I want to stay in. And they're comfortable with that, and being able to work with other companies in town to make sure everybody has the best fit. Mm-hmm. And that's something we, really pride ourselves on, because in that first phone call, we don't want to waste your time or ours. Everybody's busy these days. We don't want to come out and have a 2-hour conversation and then get you a rough number and then say, you know what, this might not be. This might not be for us.
Yeah, because you got to be careful, because the stuff you do is not cookie cutter.
No.
And so if you're not, again, if you're working on something and it makes sense to do those other things, it's not in your wheelhouse, you're going to get it done. It's just part of the job. But to be able to have a list of people and recommend somebody to do that, I'd say a lot of contractors wouldn't do that because they don't want to lose the work.
Right, and there's a huge problem. I mean, it's across small business, but in this industry in particular, that you're in competition with everybody.
Yeah,
we're not.
No.
One example, and I'm gonna say it right here: Bailey Remodeling, Brandon Bailey, another Brandon in remodeling. There's like 10 of us. He offers a very similar product to us. He is in the tour remodeled homes with us. I talked to him and his business partner at all of the Home Builders Association things, and there's some people like they can't function in that space, to where when I'm going and talking to somebody and they say we're talking to Bailey and we're talking to somebody else, awesome, because I know that when I give you this, it's going to make sense. My bid or my suggestions are going to make sense across theirs. You're going to have to make a decision. It might be on personality, but I know if I don't get that job, they got a quality contractor, and there's enough business for all of us. You have to be in that mindset.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. We got to get out of the mentality of just because you do what I do, we're enemies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's not the case. Like you said, there is enough business out there for everybody to make some money.
Yep. Yep.
But we got to get out of that. Like with charities, we've reached out and partnered with several organizations
Yes.
because I'm not mad at them. I'm glad for what they do.
Right. Yeah.
And we have to get back to that mindset. I think years ago it used to be that way. Man, there's just, you don't have to be competitive all the time.
No. And I think part of that too is in the small business world, especially when you're getting started, I mean, you're really grinding, man. You might have put your house up on the line
Oh
or
yeah.
all your savings, and it's really easy to get into that tunnel vision of, I don't, just the doom and gloom, worst case scenario. And you just don't realize how much you miss. Um, I would say 6 or 7 years ago I wasn't terrible at it, but that's when I really caught on to it. There was a remodeler in Chicago. I saw his website. It was amazing. I reached out to him. I talked to him, was kind of going through all the motions. And I was like, man, what would I have to, pay you to, I almost want to carbon copy your website. I'm not
Yeah.
going to, but I'm so impressed with it. And I appreciate you taking my call. And he's like, Brandon, I didn't invent remodeling, man. You're not my competition. If I was in Louisville, I might, be a little different. And I talk to that guy on a regular basis, and he really put in my mind that there's enough for everybody. Find your lane and just be really, really good at it, and you'll be fine. You don't have competition if you're really good at what you do.
Yeah, exactly. And and I'm sure you're probably booked out pretty far, aren't you?
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. We're considering adding another project manager. It's something I'm actually struggling with right now because I don't want to in 2 years be holding the bag, and us be too big to stay sustainable. But I'm also it's getting old telling people that I can't even come look at their job.
Yeah. I
So
get that.
it's that it's we could expand, no problem. We have some great systems. We could add a project manager, we could add another selection coordinator. We could plug and play with a lot of people, but um, I'm the happiest I've been my entire life.
That's good.
From a business to life ratio. So I don't want to throw that off. I spent my 20s and early 30s, working crazy hours and, really didn't realize how much I was giving away. Just trying to find that balance. And, you want the client experience to be amazing. I don't want to be staring at the ceiling every night wondering if things are getting done. So,
there comes a point when it can be too much
Yeah.
because when you start a business, you was kind of going that direction. You're the finance person, you're the accountant, you're the tax person, you're the marketer, you're the project manager, you're the everything.
Yep.
And unless you've ever started a business, even with a charity, it's the same thing.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
everything. And it sometimes you think, man, am I just watching life go by or am I participating?
Yep.
And it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. But then you go back to bringing somebody else on. As a person hiring somebody, you're responsible for their lifestyle at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're paying their salary. And then you got to manage them. Manage them people's tough, and I've heard other people say, I'd love to expand, but I don't want to take on any more people.
Right. Yep. No. Yeah. It can be
it's
a
very
nightmare.
difficult. So
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. Had previous relationships with a lot of the people that work here. Our two project managers are actually older than me. They both had their own remodeling business, and in some areas are more knowledgeable than I have. I'm not, embarrassed to say that. But I just
because you're the owner, founder, CEO doesn't mean you have to have all the answers.
no.
That's right. So you said they're smarter than you. That's okay to admit
Right.
that. I
Yep.
mean, that's so.
I refer to them, they're on regular, they are twin Spires in the field.
Yeah.
When after the job is sold, we've signed a contract, we've established a start date. They are taking care of everything. And, they're both veterans. They're both previous remodel owners, but I just went to them and said, look, man, I know you're tired of meeting all these clients, doing all these quotes and doing all these things. I've talked to you in the past. You just want to build. I know that's what you want to do. There has to be a way for us to, let me do this process on the front end and you get these things built because I know you can do it better than anybody. And they're just like, oh my gosh, why didn't we do this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And they appreciate that I'm honest with them. And they've made, I don't know, making fun of me is the right word, but we've been in meetings and I'll say, what do you think? I want you to make that call. You have to go stand in front of that homeowner at the end of the day. You have to explain it to them. Here's my opinion. I want you to go make that call, Kevin.
Yeah.
And they know I have their back no matter what. And it's just been really great. So
Usually when people that I'm working with that work for Shirley's Way, they'll come to me and look for the answer, and I'll look at them and say, what would you do?
right. Yep.
How would you handle that? Because if I'm sitting around making all the decisions, then why are they there?
Right.
So I'm perfectly, and if it's not something that I would agree with, and as long as it's not going to cause a lot of damage, I'll say, sure, let's go for it and see how it works.
Yep.
But yeah, you got to let them do those and make those decisions. So.
Yeah, you hired them and you trust them for a reason.
Yeah. So your website's a little different too, right? Can somebody go to your website and kind of lay out what they might have in mind? How does that work on your site?
Yeah, so that's how a lot of people find out about us, or that's where they end up after they do find out about us. So that kind of gets you
But most
in that general area.
I say most, a lot of people that do what you do don't have those tools available to them.
No, I mean, we have our pricing right there on the website.
Yeah.
And you can call me and tell me I'm crazy. I know what my numbers are. I know what my people are worth. And I know what we deserve for a job. So, bathrooms are a great example. We come in between 20 and 25,000 on just about every small bathroom. Some people tell me I'm insane, and they'll show me the bids for 17, 18, 19.
But they get what they pay for.
You get what you pay for, but there's also there's still, they're rare, but there's still the individual guy that's going and performing the work. And they have no idea how much respect I have for that guy. He's going out at night and he's meeting them. He's helping them find all their stuff, and then he's in there with a hammer, and he can be more competitive than I ever can. Unfortunately, in this industry, more times than not, that's not the case, that they're capable of doing all of it, and that's kind of the nightmare stories that you hear about. So,
well, a lot of those guys are capable, but one, they're not insured. So if they break something in your house or something ends up stolen, it's you're screwed. So but I don't think people really understand how much it takes to run a business. So you've got staff, you have to pay that staff. You have to have certain liability insurance on everybody, payroll taxes. I mean, when I look back at the stuff we have to pay for annually as a charity, people would die. I mean, they would freak out. And you're a contractor, so I can't even imagine all the different things you have to carry just to be a contractor and walk in somebody's home.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Terry, but I mean, it was, you're always looking at your costs and revenue and net and gross, and you're going through all these things. But we met with the accountant last year, and I mean, it was just this astronomical number before we even started making money to start paying everybody. Workers' comp, like you're saying, payroll taxes. It's the most competitive market it's ever been for employees. So, we have short-term disability, long-term disability, health insurance, car allowances, food allowance. We have all these incentives for you to stay. And when you see that number, like, oh my gosh, I have to get to that to start building up money for the rest of it. Well, it's crazy.
You see people, these armchair quarterbacks that make all these comments online about contractors and what they do, but they don't understand any of that. No, they have no clue what it takes to get a job done. I didn't even put in. I didn't even think about workman's comp because we have to carry all that stuff as a charity too. But I was looking at that the other day, and me and Wendy were talking, and to run a charity for all of our software licenses, of the donation tools, the insurance, the all the stuff we carry, we're at like $20,000 a year just as a charity. Yep. That's before we bring in the first dollar. But that's if we don't have those things, the donation tools, the insurance, the liability, the workman's comp, we can't operate, especially at where we're at. So somebody that wants to sit online and talk about a contractor, I can't believe they charge that. They have no idea what it takes on the back end to make that happen.
Yeah. And we have referral after referral after referral. But the ones that there's three reviews we have that are actually my favorite. And the reason why is they're clients that didn't go with us.
I wish I would have.
Right. So, one couple in particular, we went out, I can't remember the exact project, but when we went through all of it with them, and I still remember the conversation. I was like, this is going to be around $150,000. And the husband literally was like, you're crazy. There's no way I will never do that. The house isn't worth it. You start going through. I completely understand. All I can do is be upfront with you. So then, gosh, it was probably a year later. I get a call. Miss Smith referring. Miss Smith, who's that? Just trying to rattle the name off. Well, they did. You didn't do their project. I'm like, I didn't. Like, okay, well, I got to dig into this some more. So basically, what it boiled down to, I went out. I'd met with these people several times. We had went through all the motions, and they chose somebody else that was less. And at the end of it, that not only had they had spent more, it had taken twice as long.
Mm-hmm.
What's the classic story of a contractor? Twice as long, twice as much. And so I reached out to her. And I was like, I really appreciate you giving me that referral and so on and so on. And she was like, Brandon, you told us exactly what was going to happen. Nobody else wanted to do that.
Because you're honest.
Right. They were like, nobody else wanted to do that. I was like, I know. I lose job after job after job. But the people that do go with us, everything happens like it's supposed to. We're not over. We're not taking twice as long. But she was like, you described our remodel almost exactly, from how it was going to go, the pitfalls that we could have, and how much it was going to cost. And now I'm $20,000 over what you told me. And it's not even what you described, because we had to change direction so many times to even get to here.
Yeah, I see it all the time. And, I've got rental property and I'm down to my last couple, finally getting rid of these things, because it's been a night. It's been great. I've been doing it for 20 something years, and over the past few years, it's been horrible. But my point with this is, anytime I would work on something myself, something always breaks.
Right.
So I'll rip out vanities and toilets, and next thing you know, the valves on those things start leaking. Then you got a puddle. Then you've got a ruined mess, and then you got to clean that up. And my point of pointing that out is, what it takes to make that stuff happen, because you know what's probably going to happen.
Right.
You know what's probably behind that wall.
Yep.
So a person that comes in and lowballs, they're just trying to get the job, but they're not prepared to take care of all the extra stuff that you are.
Right. And there's some things that, sometimes it's overkill. Sometimes it's the save in that situation. Plumbing's a great one. Our plumber, they give us rates per opening, per faucet. So, so we're not calling them every day asking for 1,000 different numbers. But the agreement that I have with them, they're replacing, if they see it, they're replacing it.
Yeah.
We're trying to get as much copper out of houses because of the pinhole issue, from the 80s and 90s.
It got me the other day.
Right. Yeah. So, so I don't know, just for numbers' sake, my plumber on a bathroom might charge $1,000 where everybody else is charging $750, but it's because we're changing those valves no matter what.
Yeah.
We're getting as much copper out as we possibly can every time. My plumber knows what I expect. And, it sounds like a premium, but it's actually just what you're probably going to run into anyways.
Well, you're doing the job right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could be your salesperson. I guarantee it. We had a pinhole, and I never even thought about it. I said last week, but last year, we noticed water pouring in our basement. It's like, what in the world? I kept punching holes. Finally found it. Pinhole in the copper pipe behind the wall, soaked everything all the way from upstairs all the way downstairs. We had a mess on our hands.
Yep.
But you take the time. But, most people, I'd say they don't understand construction enough to know the reason why you're pulling copper out. So I'm sure you probably sit down and educate them as the reason why you're doing that.
Yeah. And so... And that gets back to our process. So you call, we make sure we're a good fit. We come out to the house. Hey, okay, here's exactly what we got. You can or can't move that wall, or you can, but it's not as simple as an LVL. It's a steel beam, or, just let's try to, here's everything we got. And then, I try to give you a range. Is this a 20 to 40,000 or 200 to 300,000? Or, I try to give you a range of where you're going to be. And then I kind of want you to sit back and think about that. There's no pressure. We're not signing anything that day. We're going through all these notions, but I try to give you as much information as I possibly can. I try to give you the closest possible range that I can. And then we do what's called a project discovery agreement. So, Mike, I come out to your house. You're interested in a kitchen remodel. I tell you, hey, everything you've told me, you cook a lot, or, this floor is important. I think that you're going to spend somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000 on this kitchen remodel. But the only way to know that for sure on a kitchen, we do what's called a project discovery agreement, all the projects. It's $2,500. So you pay us a $2,500 fee. We come out, we laser scan the house. The architect does all the construction drawings, and we come up with a layout that you like. So you're like, yes, Brandon, that's the island I want. That's where I wanted to move that door. That's where I want that flooring to stop, so on and so on. So then I go back, I put pencil to paper again. I say, Mike, we hit it right on the dot. I still think this is a $60,000 to $70,000 project. Or, hey, Mike, remember we didn't really talk about, moving the laundry room. Now this is whatever that thing. Do you still want to move forward?
Yeah.
And how do we need to adjust for you to move forward? So we get past that point. Then we kind of split off into two. We have a selection coordinator on staff. So you would go with Katie to the cabinet company, the countertop company, the tile company. Every single thing you're going to have to select, you go with them. While you're doing that, if it needs a steel beam, I'm getting a price on that steel beam. If it's not standard electric, I'm getting the electrician to the house. I'm getting the plumber to the house. We've also scanned it. So our subs are walking through your house and they've never been there before. It's like the 3D real estate scan, but it also measures and drops into our CAD. So you're going through the selection process. I'm going through the construction process. And then I'm coming back and I'm going to say, Mike, everything you picked with everything we have on the layout, this job is $72,316.
27 cents.
27 cents. And here are the 2 ways you can save money. And here are the million ways you can spend more.
Yeah.
And where do you want to be? And that's what we sign our contract off of. It's not, I've tore your kitchen out and you say, well, I went and met with the cabinet guy and you gave me a $15,000 allowance and he's saying it's 25. Well, the classic contract, well, I didn't know you wanted cherry cabinets, or I didn't know you wanted this. And then that's the relationship, at least, that's all it is for the rest of the project. I'm letting you go out. You go and pick the cabinets. Say I gave you that 15 and it's 25. Well, you might spend less on your appliances and your countertops.
Yeah, they can adjust somewhere.
Right. We give you the puzzle for you. You put the best puzzle together for you. Here's all the pieces. What fits the best for you? You know what? I'm buying that Raptor. I'm spending 85. I'm getting the built-in refrigerator in the 36 cents gas range. But you have all the information to make that decision. It's not me meeting you on a Friday at your house with somebody hammering in the background, and you go, "What the hell? How could it be $10,000 more dollars?" We talked about, all that's gone, and that's why when you go to Google and you read our reviews, one of the biggest comments is they stayed on budget. There was no hidden fees.
Anytime, and I haven't done a lot of, I do a lot of stuff myself, and it gets me in trouble. But, the biggest complaint I hear when somebody does a remodel or they have something done to their home is they told me it's going to be $5,000, and by the time we got done, it cost me $12,000. I'm sick and tired, but they know that up front. How many people do you sit down with? They look at you like you're crazy, tell you the next day you're out of your mind, there's no way, and then a week later they're calling you and saying, okay, we think you're the best option.
Yeah, there's several times that happens. We come out, I give them a price, they say I'm crazy. They talk to a couple other people and go, you know what? It's not as crazy as we thought. That's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. That's what I tell people all the time. You will never hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I know it's like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
If you're a software engineer and you give me I might tell you you're crazy because there's a value add for me, whether something is worth $20,000 or not. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And that's something I struggle with too. People will call about a kitchen remodel and say, well, I really wanted to be $40,000. And you're trying to not say that, you've asked them all the right questions and you're like, well, that's a $60,000 remodel. I don't have $40,000 cash. They've obviously worked their butt off
to
have $40,000. I'm not trying to demean them, but I also want to be honest because I don't want to get into the 40 has to be 60 because we've already torn the thing out, so it's something we're always balancing for sure.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then, that discovery fee, everybody kind of thinks that's a little crazy, but at the end of the day, that $2,500 is nothing compared to changing directions in the middle of a project, what it would cost. And the other thing is, if you move forward and sign a contract, 100% credited to the project.
Well, those people probably have never hired an architect for one.
Right, yeah. That's very true.
So that's actually a minimal fee compared to knocking on the door of an architect and saying, hey, can you do this for me? And that's probably $5,000 minimum to,
and we have
cases.
On a room addition, a lot of times that fee's more between $5,000 and $10,000. If we're not doing any exterior renderings, it's usually $5,000 or less. They vary depending on the scope of the project and how much information are we going to be trying to put together for you.
Yeah, you do a lot of high end homes, though, correct? Is that right?
Yeah.
What's the? I mean,
We do everything, man. We cover a lot of bases. I'm from the South End. I'll always be from the South End. I live off East Pages. We do some high end stuff. That tends to be the cool pictures. That's what makes it on Facebook. That's what makes it on Instagram. That's the person that gives the review. But gosh, 30-40% of our work is $40,000 or less project.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, we have a kitchen program right now to where you can get new custom cabinets, granite countertops, tile backsplash, new floor, paint, trim, GE stainless appliance package that starts at $30,000.
Yeah.
We cover all bases. It just seems to be that the cool stuff is what kind of makes it online. That's what pops.
Yeah, that's cool. So, how many basements do you do on a regular basis? Didn't you just start out doing kitchens and stuff like that? Is that what your wheelhouse was?
My dad had a custom cabinet shop. That's where I grew up, in a custom cabinet shop. He worked for a company.
Do y'all still have that cabinet shop?
No, we do not. No,
Okay.
He retired. So I grew up in a custom cabinet shop. That's my background. I just did cabinets until 2012. Won multiple home-oramas, tour remodeled homes, all the stuff with the Home Builders Association. I was very, very kitchen driven, and that's what pulled me into the remodeling. And then it's kind of grown from there.
Okay.
Dad built houses. He did he did a little bit of everything. So I've just always been right in the mix of construction, but our cabinets paid the bills.
Yeah.
And then that kind of transitioned into us doing the full remodel.
Well, it's pretty incredible. How's your turnover been on your people? You all take pretty good care of your folks, so they stick around.
0.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, but we have 0 turnover. We're at, well, that's not complete. We have 10 people now, and out since 2012. I can only think of 3 people, and 2 of them just didn't want to work in the field anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily turnover like you hear now, but I guess the better way to answer that is everybody that's here has been here for 3 years or more.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that is because in today's world, everybody's like, you got to pay better, and take care of your people. And when companies take care of their people and pay them well, they don't want to pay the cost of what the remodel might be, but you're taking good care of your people. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure they stick around, because you can't run the operation you have by hiring somebody at a temp agency and hoping they know how to drive a nail.
No.
And you're not going to get that quality.
Yeah, we have one project manager. His name's Kevin, and we have a client right now. He's an older gentleman. We're doing his basement, and I check every job every week. It's not because I don't trust anybody. It's just when you're running a huge project, you can really put some blinders on to what is your issue that week and walk right by something, 10 days in a row. Not a major issue, but it's an easy fix now versus later. But this one individual client, he kills me every time. He goes, I don't know why you stopped by and check on Kevin. He's got it. I was like, it's not about Kevin. I just
came to buy him lunch today.
Right,
see what he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. But he's just like, Kevin, we love Kevin. He's taking care of everything. You don't need to stop by, Brandon. You're wasting gas. He has that conversation with me every Tuesday when I'm.
How cool does that make? How cool is that to know that you don't have to be there and things are going to get done?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard of also other organizations, and I haven't heard in a while. I don't keep up, but when you send people on site, you have to trust them, and you hear other contracting companies, and the wife will say, "My ring disappeared yesterday, and I know you all were here." Your people, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
No. Yeah, no. That it's just such a good feeling to, and our guys, they go out of their way. And something I don't get on them, but I can't tell you how many times we come in, we have our kickoff meeting in the morning. They're like, yeah, I was at so-and-so's house till 8:00 last night. Why in the hell were you there? Well, it's what had to happen. Well, why didn't you call me? I would have went, because I always want to just proact. I just want to jump in and grab everything. He was like, that's not your job. I looked at your calendar. The one time he was like, they can all see my calendar. He was like, you clearly had a room addition meeting at 8 a.m. The last place you needed to be last night until 8:00 was there. So, just that culture of everybody caring and knowing, it's not, well, that's not my job, or that's not, everybody just jumps in. What do we got to do to get it done?
That's good. Yeah. I like that kind of environment because, and there's a lot of people that won't pick up a broom if they see something needs to be done because that's not my job. You don't have that environment, and that's pretty amazing.
And we had a laborer a couple of years ago. We had a tile that we actually ordered online, so it just showed up in the driveway on a pallet, and he, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to lug this around, and I didn't really know that was happening. It was at another job site, and they were giving him grief, like, go over there. Well, I had just happened. That was one of the days I was checking the jobs, and I was already packing it in. When he got there, half of it was already in, and that guy still, kind of talks about that to this day, that, he wouldn't send us to do anything. He wouldn't, he didn't even know I was over here bickering about it, and he had already started carrying it in the hat, because there's nothing else in my guys that I wouldn't do.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm not well, I do on the side, but if something needs to be done, I think anybody should just pitch in and make it happen.
You just got to do it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way I feel too.
Well, and it's also do that. The other thing we do when that happens is we have a conversation is, what do we adjust for that to not happen again? I don't want to pack tile anymore.
No, yeah.
I'm going to do it every time it's in front of me. Well, we need to have a better relationship. If we're going to order tile online, we need to have a better relationship. We need to have more contact with the freight company. Also when that stuff happens, we're able to sit back and have an honest conversation of, how did we get here? Kevin, why were you there till 8:00 at night? Why was this person packing tile? Why, so on and so on. How do we make sure it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I hate packing that stuff. A lot of jobs I ended up doing on rental properties. We redid one whole house one time, and I had all the drywall delivered, and it never dawned on me that I was going to have to carry the stuff in the house.
Yep.
That's one of the worst jobs in the world.
That packing shingles on
shingles. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I used to be able to carry 2 up and sometimes 3 bundles of shingle up a ladder. I can't do that anymore. No, and I don't want to do that anymore.
No, my buddy's dad was a roofer, and he joked about he had us help in the summertime so we wouldn't be roofers.
Yeah, that's it. I might have to start doing that to my son. He's helped me a few times on stuff, and but yeah. And I don't mind doing it sometimes, but man, it's hard, and I really respect the folks that do that stuff every day, because it's not hard, it's not easy,
right? And they're not appreciated enough.
No, not at all. So where did the name Twin Spires come from? Do you even know?
Yeah, well, there's several examples.
Put you on the spot there.
Yeah, no, there's tons of examples of it in the city, but Churchill Down,
Yeah.
Probably not supposed to say that legally, but
yeah.
I mean, that was an inspiration. We designed it completely different. But it's really more of, it's just something that stands the test of time. When I wanted to come up with the name, a lot of my buddies, not to get on, but it's their initials, or it's this, or it's that, I really wanted to have something that, one, marketing wise, you could put something on the side of the truck and people are going to remember it. The names, it's catchy, but it's also just the Spires. That's just something, it's a church, or it's Churchill Downs, or, whatever it is. When you think about a twin spire, it's a long lasting kind of historic, really stood its ground, location.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, it's amazing work you do. I've seen several projects online that you've done, and I highly encourage people to check out the website and see other things that y'all have done as well. So,
and then I'm on the Shirley Talk. I want to challenge all business. We do a measly $100 a month. These guys take, they've got our card number. They take $100 a month. We've actually got a thing with our employees. They're going to start taking $10 out a check.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. That we're working on that. I was talking to Kelly before she had to have her baby.
Yeah.
We're going to start talking about some more afterwards, about how can we come up with programs where, the company makes a reasonable donation, the employees make a reasonable donation, and then what I'm going to do is if the guys are taking $10 out of the check, I'm going to match that too.
Wow.
So if you own a business right now, you are probably in the best spot you've ever been in, and you've got to sit down and start giving back. We have 2 charities. We work with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
Yeah, they're good.
I've done stuff with them. Had a friend that passed away from that years ago, 2 decades ago. So I've always been involved in what they do, from donation, or we would make stuff for them to give away, if they're silent auctions and things like that. And then, we really loved what you guys did. But if you own a small business right now, I really want you to sit down, whether it's Shirley's Way or wherever it's at. You have more money than you have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
You are busier than you have ever been. Take $100, $500, $1,000 a month and put it back in the community. That's my biggest ask.
Yeah, I agree, and thanks for doing that. I'd love for people to do that with us, but if we're not your cup of tea, find another local organization that is truly touching people's lives in the community, and focus on that, because there's a lot of huge ones, and I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them at all. They've done great. The bigger organizations, they have their niche, but the smaller ones like us are truly touching lives in the community. So we're hoping people will kind of build us into their business model, in their jobs, in their businesses, and more doing that. Because I don't know if people ask you, but a lot of times businesses will say, everybody wants to know what I do. What do I give back? How do I do this? Because people are asking now.
Constantly.
Yeah.
I get robocalls.
Who do you support?
Every day. Can you do this? Can you do this? Or our lead generator, or where you submit your info on our website once a week. It's some national charity. Can you send us $250? We do this, this, and this, and this. And they might be doing great things, but the first time I met you, you didn't ask me for money.
Yeah, and I don't ask people.
Right. Yeah. You told me what you were doing. You invited us out to some things. You showed us where the money went. That's what I want to work with. That's, when, every time I see you guys have an event, I text Kelly, send me, how do I sponsor it? How do I sponsor it? Because I know where that's money is going, and I know what it's doing for the community.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to talk bad about charities, but there's charities out there that 90% of their damn budget goes to paying their own bills. So you just got to be smarter where you're putting that money. And I think locally is one of the safest ways to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Again, we're actually trying to help people. And the need, we talked about this a while back. The need is unbelievable. We're not even able to do as much as we used to for people. We got 19 requests last Friday for support and help. We helped 170 people since January 2022, January 1. And, giving more and more and more we want to, but the need is more and more and more. So we've had to scale back a little bit, but we're getting there. But yeah, thank you for that. And, hopefully more businesses will pay attention and do the same. So.
Yeah, well, me and Kelly are going to go find them.
Well, there you go. Well, thanks so much. It's been great talking to you today, Brandon.
Yeah,
what's your website? Twin Spires Remodeling?
Yep, twinspiresremodeling.com, Twin Spires Remodeling on Instagram, Facebook.
Check out the work. They do great work, got great people. So thank you. As Brandon was saying, if you want to support Shirley's Way, go to shirleysway.org and sign up to be a $10 monthly donor, or businesses are doing like Brandon and his team are doing $100 a month. Or we have quarterly sponsorships. The businesses that we talk about all the time at our raffles, they're all quarterly sponsors. And send us a message at info@shirleysway.com. We'd love to give you the details on that, of how you can participate and help us to continue to give money back to the community, to people who are sick. So thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next time.